Are you ready to see who actually has the grit to survive this roster gauntlet? The Houston Texans training camp is officially confirmed to begin this coming week with rookies entering the building, followed by veterans on July 28th. This camp is critical because we have 5 major position battles that will define our depth chart and ultimate success this season. It is fascinating to see how the front office is pushing for maximum competition at every level of this team. And honestly, the more details come out, the harder it is to ignore what is going on behind the scenes. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your name and city in the comments below. Let's get into it. The Houston Texans are officially bracing for the intensity of training camp, as rookies report this week, followed by veterans on July 28th, to begin the hard work of building our roster. As we prepare for the season, the focus shifts to 5 critical position battles that will define our depth and potential. From a crowded wide receiver room of 12 players to a wide-open competition at tight end and a crucial shuffle across the interior offensive line, these next few weeks carry significant weight for every player fighting for a 53-man spot. We are also keeping a close eye on the linebacker rotation and a high-stakes punting battle between Kai Kruger and Jack Stonehouse. The bottom line here is that our front office is testing every available candidate to ensure we maximize our personnel, especially with the interior offensive line being a potential make-or-break factor for our offense. Fans across Houston are feeling a mix of nervous anticipation and excitement, knowing that these camp battles often reveal the hidden gems who become key contributors by December. We have seen firsthand how a single training camp performance can shift a player from the practice squad to the active roster, and the competition within these specific groups is clearly at an all-time high. There is a palpable sense that this team is searching for the right blend of experience and fresh talent to reach its ceiling. However, as we evaluate these 90 men, a pressing question remains that could change everything we think we know about this depth chart. While we have identified the likely cut candidates, we must consider if the coaching staff will prioritize raw versatility over established experience when making their final decisions, and how that strategic pivot might alter the chemistry of our locker room before the very first kickoff. The most startling development ahead of training camp is the front office decision to carry a staggering 7 tight ends on the 90-man roster, a complete departure from last season when we rarely utilized more than 3 on the active roster. This shift stems from a calculated desire to infuse the offense with heavy personnel packages, forcing the coaching staff to reconcile a crowded room featuring veterans alongside younger prospects. Back in the day, our approach was much more conservative, but this current strategy reflects a desire to maximize versatility before the final 53-man cuts are announced. We have seen teams pivot to these bulky rosters before, often to test versatility in preseason, but rarely with this level of urgency to find a secondary weapon behind Dalton Schultz. And the more I look at this, the clear internal logic becomes apparent, as DeMeco Ryans and his staff are likely searching for a specialized blocker or a red zone mismatch that simply did not exist for us last year. Behind closed doors, the organization is surely weighing the cost of development versus immediate production, knowing that rookie Marlon Klein already commands a secure spot in the long-term plan. For veterans fighting for their careers, the lack of past depth at this position is no longer an excuse, and they must now prove their worth in a room that is significantly more competitive than in previous campaigns. With the arrivals of veterans slated for July 28th, the pressure will mount rapidly for those on the bubble to demonstrate value beyond standard blocking duties. We are witnessing a fundamental change in how this coaching staff prioritizes the middle of the field, moving away from rigid roles toward a more fluid, aggressive personnel structure that will hopefully make our offense far more unpredictable when the season finally kicks off this fall. The clock is ticking toward our first true glimpse of the 2026 squad, and the urgency surrounding these position battles is hitting a fever pitch as players prepare to report to the Houston Methodist Training Center. For those of us who have followed this franchise for decades, we know that championships are forged in the quiet intensity of July and August practices. These competitions are not merely about filling a 53-man roster, but rather about establishing a physical identity that will sustain us through the grind of a grueling 17-game schedule. And I cannot stress this enough. The fluidity at the interior offensive line and the tight end spots will dictate our offensive efficiency more than any other factor this year. If we fail to solidify the protection for our quarterback, the complexities of our playbook simply cannot manifest on the field. This uncertainty directly impacts our high-stakes divisional contests against the Colts and Titans, as those teams are aggressively retooling to challenge our recent dominance in the AFC South. By tightening up these depth roles, we are building a margin of error that is essential for surviving the postseason gauntlet. These roster decisions are the difference between a team that struggles in October and one that thrives in January. If our coaching staff successfully identifies the right personnel to pair with our star receivers, our ability to control the clock and manipulate opposing secondaries will increase exponentially. We are looking at a pivotal stretch where the margin between being a legitimate contender and an early exit is razor thin. Every snap in the preseason is a foundational stone for the upcoming campaign, and as Houston Texans fans, we must remain vigilant. We have the pieces, but the depth charts must be balanced to ensure that we maintain our status as the team to beat within the conference. Training camp represents a fresh start for every player on the roster, but the internal pressure to perform during these upcoming weeks is undeniable for the fringe athletes fighting for a spot. What makes this even bigger is the sheer volume of talent the organization has invited to compete, particularly at wide receiver where 12 pass catchers are vying for potentially 7 spots. The upside of this immense competition is that DeMeco Ryans can foster a high-intensity environment, ensuring that whoever earns that final jersey truly fought for it against stiff opposition. Conversely, the downside is the risk of losing quality depth if talented players like Trayvon Saunders or Josh Kelly are cut, only to be scooped up by other franchises looking for reliable contributors. Analysts across the league have pointed out that the Texans are taking a drastically different approach compared to their conservative roster management in previous years. While some pundits are excited about the prospect of keeping 7 wide receivers, I personally find that projection a bit overblown given the necessity of depth at other positions. Carrying that many targets might dilute our special teams' impact or leave us vulnerable elsewhere on the field. My honest take here is that we should look for a more balanced approach rather than being enamored by the sheer number of bodies in camp. While it is tempting to believe that quantity always leads to quality, we need to focus on how these players contribute to the specific schemes we run on Sunday. Whether it is the tight end battle between Lane Pryor and Lewis Hanson, or the punting competition featuring Kai Kroeger and Jack Stonehouse, the reality is that tough decisions await management. We are in a position of strength, but the front office must be ruthless to ensure the final 53-man group is ready for the rigors of a full season. The truth is that these intense training camp competitions signal a shift in how we build our roster for the long haul under DeMeco Ryans. Instead of relying on a few marquee names, the front office is cultivating a deep competitive environment where every practice rep serves as a vital audition for a spot on the 53-man squad. For us as Houston Texans fans, this represents a maturing franchise that is no longer content with just having talent, but is actively seeking the perfect synergy to sustain success over these next few seasons. You should feel immense confidence heading into this year, because this level of healthy pressure ensures that whoever earns the starting job or that final depth role has truly proven their worth through sweat and consistency rather than just potential. Seeing 12 receivers fighting for limited spots or watching our interior line battle for stability shows that no one is getting a free pass. And that accountability is exactly what wins tight games in December. We are witnessing the intentional refinement of a championship-caliber culture where depth is prioritized as highly as our stars. With the punting job coming down to a direct showdown between Kai Kroeger and Jack Stonehouse, every single detail is being scrutinized by the coaching staff before the real games begin. It is a refreshing change to see a team so focused on the margins, and it tells me that the organization is fully committed to leaving no stone unturned in their pursuit of excellence. Which of the 2 punters would you rather see land the starting role, Kai Kroeger or Jack Stonehouse? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Toro time, I'll see you in the next one.